If you had a son, would you want him to grow up more like Russell Wilson?
No.
Or Future?
No.
Both no.
I would throw my shoe.
Or
I would.
Russell Wilson or Future? Which one would you want him
I
to
would
grow?
rather him be like Future.
Okay. Who would you rather your daughter date?
That's
Russell
crazy.
Wilson or Future?
He f***ed you up. Why did you think?
Because there's pros and cons to both. I would
Answer the question.
If I gave a why, I would want her to date a Future, because it takes for you to date a Future to even get a Russell.
Oh. No, because I had my husband first and went and left somewhere else. I had to come back to him. I had to be broken down.
A lot of women
that wasn't the question.
A lot of women need to be broken.
That makes sense, but that wasn't the question.
But that was nice.
A lot of women need.
What's going on, Rebel family? Today's video, I Want Future, starring Rico Hundo. That's a brother in the middle there with the pink jacket on, some type of rapper, YouTube host of 8 at the Table podcast. But before we get to the video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So I can't believe I have to do another Russell Wilson Future video. Because we have these young men out here who idolize Future for some unknown reason, some absurd reason here. As you saw in the opening clip here, that the brother was asked a question. I'm going to play it again here real quick.
If you had a son, would you want him to grow up more like Russell Wilson?
No.
Or Future?
No.
So he said it right away. No. He didn't even let the guy finish the question. I think, and I believe the person that's asking the question is Ace Metaphor. Ace Metaphor is also a podcaster. I think he's one of these love gurus. He is like Derek Jackson 0.5, I guess, if you will. He's not as polished as Derek Jackson, but he's along the same lines. He's one of those panderers to women that kind of tell women what they want, and pretty much has, whatever to say about black men, that black men need to step up, and they're doing this and that and so forth. I'll be covering him a little bit in another video. Well, I can't listen to all these guys' stuff, but I'm gonna touch on him in a little bit. Anyway, so this brother here is Rico Hundo. He's a wannabe rapper. Again, I think he's more known for the 8 at the Table podcast. I've seen some of their shows or some of their episodes. It's okay. It has some pretty decent topics, but it has no real insight that it doesn't really pique my interest. It isn't my cup of tea, if you will. I saw this on the timeline, and it's unbelievable that this brother said he would want his son to be raised, not to be, but raised like Russell Wilson. And then this guy's gonna finish the question, or Future.
No.
Both no.
I would throw my shoe.
Or
I would.
Russell Wilson or Future? Which one would you want him
I
to
would
grow?
rather him be like Future.
Okay. Who?
He said now he changed it. So he said now, because he said, would you want him raised? Either way, the question, it's an obvious answer. Okay, he said he was asked the question, raised like Future or Russell Wilson, and then he said I would rather him be like Future. It's insane. I mean, the fact that just to even make that statement is insane. And I understand that you got to look cool, and you know everyone thinks Russell, well, not everyone, a lot of men think Russell Wilson is a simp, but it's the obvious answer. Taking a look at how they both grew up, it is a no-brainer. Russell Wilson was raised in a two-parent household. That came from a two-parent household. Lawyers, doctors, presidents of universities. This is who Russell Wilson comes from and who he was raised by. And not saying that is necessarily the greatest way to be raised, but it's a lot better than being raised by a single mother. And let me tell you why. Because Rico Hundo is going to say it in another clip I'm going to play. But statistically, it shows that, children have a better chance if they're raised in a two-parent household. It is just what it is. I mean, better education, not at least likely to grow up in poverty, crime, arrests, so forth. The statistics, I don't have to bring that here. It's not even debatable at this point that, children have, especially black children, have a better opportunity at life if they are raised in a two-parent household. Now, listen to what he says here. This brother tripped him up on this question.
Would you rather your daughter date Russell Wilson or Future?
And see, that guy's ace metaphor. But, see, now look at him. He has the pause.
Why did you think?
Because there's pros and cons to both.
No.
I would
answer the question.
If I gave a why, I would want her to date a Future, because it takes for you to date a Future to even get a Russell.
This dude is insane, and he has a daughter. Understand, this guy has a 2-year-old daughter. So you would want her to go through what however many women went through, and like Lori Harvey still has to deal with Future. They're no longer together, but now I got to deal with him making records and saying whatever in records, Michael B. Jordan and so forth. Now it took me a minute to find. I'm not gonna play the rest of this. It took me a minute to find Future's background, but I was able to find, and I don't know if this is true or not. It's alleged, but it looks like his father wasn't in his life. And he was raised by his mother. His mother was a hardworking woman, and it's saying that they might have been of Haitian origin. I don't know how true this is. I mean, obviously, his mother is on the scene. She's doing good things in terms of, she has a foundation. She's a real estate investor. Foundation helping women, build wealth. So it's all great stuff here, and I think she's the CEO of his 5 bands or whatever his company is called. But anyway, so I was able to find this here. Like I said, again, I don't know how true this is. This is all the information I was able to find. I couldn't find anything but this on his father. His mother, there's a lot of information about it, but she worked, middle class life's woman. She worked middle class jobs or whatever, and he had a sister. So it probably was a struggle, but she persevered and she did. So he didn't grow up necessarily in the worst conditions, but between the two, Russell Wilson and Future, Russell Wilson had the easier life and the easier time coming up. Says his father was estranged from him. Actually, he didn't even know him. It's just publicized that both his parents were of Haitian origin, and I heard some video of her, and it sounds like she does have a bit of an accent. But then it says the mother, she raised him alone. She served as an operator for 911. Then it looks like she got a bachelor's degree in business, got into corporate America. So she moved up a little bit. I think after receiving her bachelor's degree. Says her son was a burden. That's why she left him in a house with an aunt. With age, the rapper understood that he grew up in a trap house, and his numerous aunties simply were call girls. They were constantly on drugs. Now, I don't know how true that is, but if that is true, I couldn't find this anywhere else. Again, this is all alleged. I don't know if this is absolutely true or not. But what is true is that he did grow up being raised by a single mother. And like I said, even if she was just a 911 operator, it isn't the worst upbringing, but it is definitely not where Russell Wilson was. Okay, so I want to read something here from this guy Rico Hundo. He was also raised by a single mother, and there's no shock there to that by the answer that he gave about Future and Russell Wilson. So he's been in his interview here. Yeah, he's also a model, music artist, whatever. Anyway, you were raised by a single mother. will you say that has given you a brand new perspective towards life? Of course, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It allowed me to go through certain obstacles that not only humbled me but strengthened me. When you witness your loved one struggle, it can either make you or break you, and I made a decision to let my upbringing make me. So I'm saying this to say I think there's some growth in the brother, because this is what he said, and this was about 2017 when this came out, April 11th, 2017. Now he's going to say something in this video. He's interviewing some kind of British-born R&B rapper or singer, Aiyana-Lee. I don't have no idea who this is, but she's 21, and it shows. But anyway, he's interviewing her, and he said something that was I thought was interesting, that shows growth.
I mean, I was really speaking of father because I was just naturally thinking heterosexual, but I was really just, in a sense, right? Now that you brought that up, I'm just thinking about two parents.
Got you. Okay.
And when you have two parents, I know, the numbers is just, and I've watched a lot of people lose a lot of things because they weren't mentally strong enough to deal with the lack of.
Right.
And I feel like the odds are, it's a beautiful thing and listen, I'm not knocking nobody that makes it out, and I'm happy because I'm with you. We in the same group, you know what I'm saying? But I just think that, like for me, and look, I'll give you a
Okay, before he gets into that, they were actually having a back and forth, and he was saying that it's better for a child to come up in a two-parent home. He didn't just go out right and quote the statistics and saying statistically it's better and so forth. She was arguing because the conversation started with him asking her what will she be doing when she's 40, and she said, being a single mom. She's actually arguing that being a single parent raising a child is better than two parents raising a child, which is insane. But he was pushing back, so it shows some growth here. Even though he said that was the best thing that happened to him, he is actually reflecting a little bit, and it may be because he has a daughter, so maybe in the future he will change that, wanting to raise his son to be like Future and have his daughter date a Future, which is silly. Once she gets old enough to start dating, he's going to change his mind on that. I can guarantee you on that one.
Personal real ass experience.
Sure.
I have the girl that I initially got pregnant, that is the mother of my child, that I am with, is from Los Angeles, right? And at that point in time, while she was pregnant, me and her, I was not like, this wasn't what we were supposed to be doing, So I wasn't really signed up for any of it. But I was like, at the same time, I know, like, I've watched, like, for example, my sister, I'm perfectly fine. I'm doing great.
And he's not perfectly fine. He may be doing great because he's gonna say he's doing fine. He's doing great. So he's having some success, but he's not doing great. He's not doing fine, because if you're looking at Future as any type of role model, and he is in a sense, this is not just to dump on Future or whatever, because obviously no matter where you come from, if you made it to a certain point financially, then that's a win in this society. But to make all these babies out here in this broken families and so forth, that's not a win. And if you want to raise your son to do that same thing, or to raise your daughter to be with somebody like that, then you are broken. You have something that you need to fix internally, because you always want your children to do better than you did in everything, not just financially, but in everything.
For my life, my sister went through a lot of hardships without both parents.
But see, you know what I think it is? Sorry, okay. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, it's cool.
But I think also it's like the chances, even with both parents, how many people are struggling with mental health, even with both parents, or have chaos because their parents are constantly fighting or in a toxic environment.
Well, I don't think that should be it either.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the chances of you having a stable child that's completely perfect.
Not perfect.
Yeah, see, this she's making a straw man argument here, and it shows her immaturity to think that that a two-parent household, because that's what she's arguing against, that a two-parent household is going to somehow leave the child more broken than a single-parent household. Now, let me give you some background on her, because in this interview, I'm not going to play it here, but in this interview, she disclosed to him that her father tried to kill her on a few occasions. This is what she said in this particular interview here, that her father tried to kill her a few times, and the last time that she saw him, she was 13 and he had pulled a gun on her. Her father has since passed, and this woman said, "I'm absolutely fine." She said, "There's nothing wrong with me." Anyone that hears that story, he was even like, "Whoa, this is deep." Like, she's like, "Oh, no, I'm fine." No, you're not fine. You have some issues there that need to be resolved, some trauma. Anyone that goes through anything like that is going to have trauma. Hell, I remember 9/11 when the people only saw what happened on TV and had PTSD. You're not going to tell me that your father tried to kill you on a few occasions and you don't have it. Silly.
Perfect.
Or like handling things. I think trauma, it even comes with two parents. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it's like, because I have so many people who are victim of just having two parents who fought all the time, or divorce, or things that people go through that are so hard. I think it comes with single parents and parents that are both there.
And see, how many breakups? She talks about parents going through a divorce. How many breakups is a single parent going to have? Unless it's a woman that just says, "Okay, you know what? I'm not going to date the whole time I have children until they get out and get on their own, and then I'll start dating." But is that happening in today's society? And the chances of a child being taken advantage of when there's a new man in the house that's not their biological father.
But this is the main thing, and I agree with you. The main core that I'm trying to convey is that, in my opinion, this is my opinion.
Sure, yeah.
A single parent and a bad couple is both detrimental.
Oh, 1,000%.
But like,
well, not the single parent. I don't agree with that.
I think a single parent is detrimental, but it's up to the kid to determine their life, their strengths, and that's when it's completely out of the.
That woman said, "No, a single parent is not detrimental." This is insane.
Parents' hands. So you can't teach strength. There's nothing that you can do in this world. There's no way you can teach strength. I mean, I was really.
So that's it with that particular video there. And again, hopefully the brother has a change of opinion, and he grows. He looks back at this, and I'm sure he will, because he has a daughter. And he said something else that was really profound in this interview as well, that he believes that growing up with a single parent, most of the time it's his mother, growing up in a single parent household, you don't put as much value on relationships or marriage, because he said when he got his baby mother, when he got her pregnant, he was just kind of like, he wasn't involved, he wasn't there, wasn't doing what he could have been doing, because he didn't really value relationships. And so it looks like he's growing, but if the brother isn't growing, we have to exercise these types of people out of the community, away from us, because they will be a detriment. They're only going to keep us from progressing, because we have to change this mentality, and it's going to start with the men. I understand that we have a lot of problems with women and so forth, and I'm not saying that the men are broken. The evidence is clear on where the problem lies, but how it's going to be fixed, is going to have to start with men choosing to fix that. And I will cover this at some point in a live stream, to just really lay out what I think should be the methodology, but it has to start with men. If black women are broken, it's gonna have to be black men to remedy the situation. But how we do that, that's a whole different talk show. But those are my final thoughts. Peace, Rebel family.